Sister, and today I wanted to talk to you about Van Gogh. Like when I was looking at, like Van Gogh was a self-taught artist, and in art schools and whatnot, they always hyper focus on just his impressionism work, but he had like, but most of it, but the whole, am I winning frame?
Yeah.
Still? But like the bulk of his artworks, it was actually pencil drawings on paper. Because like since Van Gogh couldn't afford to like go to a fancy school in order to learn how to paint, he had to like teach himself how to paint, just following simple logic and what he had heard from other artists that they use in order to learn to paint. So then you cannot learn how to paint without first learning how to draw. You can't just skip directly to painting. So this is one of his earliest drawings, at least the one that he bothered to sign. It is September 1862. And he was so proud of that jug of milk that he painted that he even signed it. So any word that an artist signs is that they are actually proud to like talk about it and to show it to the world. Alright, so first he started by sketching everyday objects, jugs of milk and whatnot, and so you can start with that. Next, he moved on to learning how to draw people and animals, since that were common in the place where he lived at. So once you get like a basic idea how to draw like people and animals, then you move on to houses and like trees and whatnot. You see how rudimentary looking the trees, but like the basic shapes are there. But you just start with paper and pencil because Van Gogh was dirt poor. So obviously he had to teach himself starting with the cheapest material, which is there's nothing cheaper than paper and pencil. So if you're like in the poorhouse and you want to learn to paint, just start with that. And Van Gogh's favorite painter was John Everett Millet, who always painted farmers doing farmer scenes. And over here, the farmers stop their working, and then they're praying, and the church is in the background. So this pencil drawing is a fan art that Van Gogh made of one of his favorite paintings because he liked the simple farmer life, and he also admired their religiosity. So once you finish like learning to paint buildings and like people more or less, also try to sketch from like your favorite artist, the artist that you admire the most. So make your little fan art. Because by making like a fan art, it doesn't feel like homework because you're actually painting something like drawing something that you want to draw. Alright, once you finally master the pencil, that you feel 100% confident in your pencil drawing skill, then you pick up the brush. So over here, this is Van Gogh teaching himself how to go from pencil drawings to paintings. And as you can see, he used all the cheapest pigments available. Like you don't see any blues, any red. It's just like tones of black and brown and white, which were like the cheapest pigments available because since he's now teaching himself how to paint with a brush, he couldn't afford to waste expensive pigments. So yeah, so start with that. So then same thing here, a landscape, but a seascape. See, if I didn't tell you it was a seascape, you wouldn't be able to see it. There's a ship, this is supposed to be the ocean, and the sky. But you see, all very weak, muted colors because he couldn't afford the good pigments. And he didn't want to spend money on them because he'd be like, well, I still don't know how to work with a brush, so I'm not gonna make big expenses yet on something that's just a practice painting. Now over here, he's now doing a practice painting with a still life. Like the purpose of still life, aside from like being decorative art or trying to like tell you some meaning or something, you learn how to balance a painting using like fruits and everyday objects when you don't have people available for you to pose. So then just by moving the objects around in, like moving your apples and stuff, you visually learn when a painting looks unbalanced or whether it needs something here or over there. So even without any theory, you can just sort of learn and intuitive by just messing around with like your vegetables, cause like the brain is like naturally designed in order to tell you when something is off. And when something looks harmonic and pleasant to the eye, because like that weird little spiral thing, that things that are in symmetry are pleasing to the eye. So then the brain will tell you whether you did it right or not, just by messing around with apples and oranges. Alright. Now the next step that Van Gogh did was like really focus now on painting people's faces, because artists in those days, those that didn't have like those that were, in order to like get like the high commissions and stuff and to be brought into court, you have to have been a painter that went to one of those fancy expensive universities. So since he knew right off the bat that since he couldn't go to like a fancy school, he knew right off the bat that he wasn't never gonna get like the fancy commission. So then he'd be like, the other way that artists make money is by painting people's portraits. So then his next focus in his studies and your studies for that matter is gonna be mastering drawing people's faces in order to sell portraits, because that's where the money comes in for artists that don't have like big connections or whatnot, just making portraits of whoever, whenever, really master rendering a person's face. So then, but as you see, there is still not. But the other thing that also made money for the artist is decorative art. And what was in the fashion or in France at the time was, houses with like cute paintings of vases and flowers, because since flowers would like drop that immediately, it was just, like this cute, like sunflowers, but my sunflowers eventually died. So I'll just have a painting of a sunflower in my house. So then this is like Van Gogh now trying to learn how to draw the shapes of flowers. And as you can see, since this is one of his earliest paintings, you can barely see the shapes of the flower. So yeah, like flowers have always been popular, and people are always gonna dig flowers. So if you wanna like monetize your like paintings and whatnot, two things: decorative flowers and learn people portraits. In order to get commission, where just as long as you master those two, at least following the Van Gogh method, you're in the clear, maybe. Maybe, because tastes change, but people always like flowers and paintings of themselves to put in the wall. But then here we're back to the sketching phases, because Van Gogh noticed when he was doing the painting of the maiden that he was having a hard time with hands and feet. So then he went back to the drawing board in order to really learn well how to draw feet and hands. So that's like very important as far as the artist thing, cause like like if a hand looks wrong, it doesn't matter if the rest of the painting looks right. People are gonna hyper focus on like the T-Rex hands of a human being. Because it's like, it's like pretty, like you see any painting, you would know that the hand is drawn wrong, and then you will hyper focus on it. So then he went back to the drawing board. Over here is Van Gogh finally feeling that he knows how to draw like portraits, right? Like once you like feel like you master how to draw like persons and whatnot, then you start adding your expensive pigments. So here, like the ultramarine blue that costs an arm and a leg, more blue, and like the red that's also expensive. So you see, now he's ready to do he was ready to do like an official portrait, and who knows, maybe he even got paid a couple of francs for that. But you see, but he was putting everything that he learned together.
Interesting, he didn't sign that one.
Yeah. You're right, he didn't sign it. Like when an artist doesn't sign something, that usually means that he's ashamed of it and he doesn't want to be associated with it.
Or just not confident enough to do so.
Or to show it to other people. But the fact that this painting made it to the real world, to the modern times, is that Theo didn't throw away that painting, even though Van Gogh didn't like it, because Theo was Van Gogh's little brother, and he was like and he was always supporting his brother's work, because he loved him. He loved his big brother Vincent. So yeah, this painting, this one he didn't bother to sign. It's like over here the signature, and this is a still life with like a Bible and like a prayer book and a candle. And he did it because it's like his father was like a priest person, so then he was like thinking about him, so then he made it. So this is his first experiment doing still life that have an actual meaning behind it, and that is supposed to invoke like a symbol or something. So there you have it.
Notice the meaning is actually loss of faith because the candles are off.
Yeah.
Which means that
he's losing his religion because his candles are not lighted up. Oh no, he said enough. Alright, over here he's now drawing flowers again. But this time he's actually using the expensive pigments. See, like the reds, you see the reds, like the whites, some yellows over here. But and over there in the corner by the controller, he actually bothered to sign it. So this is a painting that he actually feels proud of it. You know?
Vincent.
Vincent. Like he always signed Vincent. Not people always call him Van Gogh, but he always signed his work as Vincent because he didn't want to be closely associated with like his family's last name that was like all a bunch of merchants. He wanted to be the next Michelangelo. You don't know? Does anyone know Michelangelo's last name? No? Or well, you know Da Vinci, but he wanted to just be known as Vincent.
Yet everyone calls him Van Gogh.
No, he's Vincent. He started off his work as Vincent. So yeah. So however you choose to sign your work is how you want like the future people to know you as. So call him Vincent. So over here he's now trying like the expensive bit. So over here we're like now moving on to landscape, but using like more expensive pigments and whatnot. And like the trees still look kind of weird looking, but you know. Just try your best now that you have like a basic grasp of shapes and whatnot and how to balance the composition. You see, he balanced the birds up here with like a blue dude down there. So see, that way there's objects to the left up and there's objects to the right down. And skinny tree here, some skinny trees over there. See how the entire painting is balanced. You learn how to balance a painting by moving fruits around. And like visually knowing whether something is unbalanced or whatnot. And then this is one of his earliest self-portraits. Like the reason why an artist traditionally did a self-portrait was to sell his talents. He's telling his future patrons, I can make you look this awesome in a portrait. Hire me to paint your portraits because look at how cool I made myself look. So I can make you look this awesome. So yeah. Make a self-portrait to advertise your talents to other people. You know, like if you don't have clients yet that want your portraits, that's why artists back then used to do self-portrait to show them that you can look this awesome.
And also to show off their claroscuro because notice that he's using like all the.
Yeah, he was over here. It's more of a realistic kind of self-portraits. He still hadn't like gotten into impressionism yet. Mind you, like, and when I was scrolling down in like the entire bulk of his work, this painting is like number 800 or something.
You do a lot. That's another thing. You gotta draw.
Right, like your freaking life depends on it. Alright, so then he eventually moved to Paris to be with his brother Theo. Because Theo, he was an art dealer and he sold stuff. So naturally, Theo had a lot of contact with the Impressionist painters. So then Theo be like, since I'm selling your paintings, why don't you teach my brother how to paint the Impressionist style? Because that's how all of the cool kids paint. because
This was trending right now.
this is what's trending. So then Van Gogh, he met all of the Impressionist guys, and then they taught him a new way of painting. So then this is a painting that he made after learning a new trick. So then once you learn the basics and whatnot, then you can start experimenting with like a different style. So then this is Van Gogh dipping his toes in the Impressionism.
But notice how perfectly balanced this is, because all of the other stuff that he learned could now be applied to the new style.
Yeah. So, and like based on like the color applications and whatnot and the water, like I think over here he is more trying to paint a la Monet style. Not Manet, Monet. Like the new guy that painted a bunch of landscapes. So then you can see how he paints the water following the Monet style. And like everyone, like all of the Impressionists, Van Gogh had to get into an anime phase. So then this is his anime phase, painting his own fan arts of Japanese prints and whatnot, including like putting lotuses and like cranes and whatnot.
And copying the thick borders and everything.
And yeah, and copying the thick borders and everything. But yeah, that's his anime phase.
The story of Japanese painting impressionism is its own thing, especially how they got to France and all of that.
Yeah.
That's something we should explore later.
Alright, and over here you notice that he actually now is trying his hands on pointillism, which is the George Seurat style. You see, is it still running?
Yeah, it's still running.
You see lots of little dot. So then, as you can see, Van Gogh still hasn't found his voice yet, because now he's like trying what's popular with his cool friends, you know? So since you didn't see all the paintings that look like that, obviously he tried pointillism once, immediately hated it, and then went to try out something else. Over here, this is more of a soft pointillism, but see, he applied everything that he learned from his Impressionist friends, and then he made a new self-portrait using the Impressionism style. Like compare this self-portrait that's Impressionist to the first one he made, see?
But you can see in the beard that something's emerging, because the beard style
is very similar to this one. Mm-hmm. But you see that he's now he's trying to paint like the cool kids. I wish I to be like the cool kids. Alright, so this is one of the, like at least according to like the database where I was looking at the painting, this is like his first sunflowers, and he painted a lot of sunflowers. Like sunflowers were, according to like the biography, right, the sunflower was the favorite flower of Paul Gauguin. And Van Gogh.
He had a boy crush on him.
Yeah, I don't know, whatever. He just really liked hanging out with Gauguin. He was like his best friend and whatever. So then he started learning how to paint sunflowers, because he was trying to get Gauguin to like go to his, because he wanted to form like a community where artists would hang out and like, but in the countryside, because apparently like the Paris life wasn't suiting what Van Gogh. He wanted to return to the countryside, but he wanted to take his artist friends with him.
Yeah, because he probably had a attention deficit disorder, so all the noise of the city was probably driving him insane.
Yeah, that and the smoke and the alcohol and the Paris life Paris has always been crazy. So overstimulation in the Paris, and don't forget his favorite painter was Millet. He missed the quiet of the country life, where like things were simple and stuff. So yeah. Over here, he's now trying basic impressionism skills on like an everyday object. This time, his shoes.
Yeah, but notice that over there, that's the style that's gonna stick. Like this is him realizing something.
Yeah, this is him finding what he likes, and you notice that the fat borders from the fat lines of black that he picked up from the Yokure paintings are starting to become more prominent, because he's now finding why, like, now he learned to paint, now he's finding his own style. So yeah, So once you try out different stuff, and then you take everything you learn and now start developing your own ninja way, your own style. And then this one is an impressionism painting that's an icing. So then you
I
see
was
what
just seeing flexing, really.
flexing. Like impression, if you look at all of the impressionist work, you will notice that only Van Gogh bothered to paint at night because impressionists were all about observing the effect of light on objects and cities and people. But they didn't bother to do that in at night because you try painting at night in the middle of the night. But then Van Gogh was crazy enough to try to paint the dark, to paint the darkness in the middle of the night. So then that's something you can do. So then that's something you can do. Not go paint in the middle of the night. Just look at what everyone is doing around you. What is the common trend, and then find the one type of painting, the one type of subject that nobody's doing, and then you paint it in order to stand out from the rest.
Also notice that there are perspective issues in the painting, but that's not a mistake. I think that is on purpose. He just didn't care because that's not what the painting is about.
Yeah, the painting was about like expressing the city, or maybe he just had a really hard time, or maybe he was just squinting his eyes too hard. So then you try painting in the middle of the freaking night. So yeah, so you're trying to paint darkness in the middle of the night while you're going blind as a bat. So yeah. So yeah, like find a subject that nobody's ever painted and then you paint it. Kind of like when I started painting ink art for doing slugs because nobody has ever painted snails. So then I did it be like, I'm gonna paint snails. Like over here, this painting is unique because Van Gogh painted it from his memory. That is one of the hardest things to do in the artwork. Paint something that not what you see, but what you remember, what is in your mind. So then this is a scene that from Van Gogh's childhood, you know, like his mother and his sisters are hanging out in the garden. So then he painted it just based on how he remembered it and whatnot.
And also notice the thick lines and the...
Yeah, like over here, like the fat lines that he picked up from the animes. You know, the anime thing stuck. We just painting the big fat bold line. So yeah, paint something from your head, you know, but without looking at any reference or without having like any jars or anything, just you staring at the paper and you and the pencil. And just relying on what's in your brain 100%, not even bothering to look at references to the types of flowers you want to draw, or even people's faces for that matter. 100%, you're from your brain.
I noticed that he kept the pointillism, but only for clothing textures.
Yeah, like over here, you know, he over here he's using everything he picked up. Is the time running up there?
Yeah, it's still running.
Alright, the next thing that is very important for you to do as an artist is to paint your mother or your father or like a parental figure or an authority figure, that the person that you admire and love the most, the one that raised you and made you feel happy about your existence. So then Van Gogh over here, he painted his mom in order to earn her approval. And show her,
the Mother's Day present.
Like the Mother's Day present. Look, Mama, I painted you. I painted a picture of you, Mom. Do you like it?
And she's like, please don't.
Stand still, I'm gonna paint you, Mom. Okay? For how long? He said like a week. Aw. But yeah, paint the person you love the most, and him. But Katie was his mommy. Mommy. So yeah, once you gain your mother's approval, try to one-up your hero. So over here is Van Gogh once again doing a subject that is the sower, which is by John Everett Miles, but then he's making like a better version of it. Like the sower is like the guy that throws the seeds in like the field to grow plants and stuff. So then he's making an even better version of like his favorite painter, of his favorite painting, made by his favorite painter. So
yeah, with the Japanese influence, the golden sun, the samurai scenery. It makes his sword look like a samurai.
Yeah. But you see that, now once you have your person's approval, your special person's approval, then it's time for you to do a confident bold painting, something that you be like, yeah, I'm so ready for this.
Yeah, like when you make the Hollow Knight version of Brito, and you were like, yeah, I can do a Brito.
I can do a Brito. Alright, then make another. Then this is a sunflower, one of the billions of sunflowers that Van Gogh painted. Mira, see, he even cited Vincent on the base in blue. It's almost the other than the, but then he had to balance that blue with his blue inside the sunflower. So see. So then he painted it for like Paul Gauguin, and then he filled up Paul Gauguin's room and everything near Paul Gauguin with sunflowers, and then with sunflower painted because.
You want to go into the Paul Gauguin relationship with Van Gogh?
No, don't just say like Paul Gauguin, he owned a lot of money to Theo. So then Theo be like, my brother Van Gogh, he really likes hanging out with you, so I'm gonna forget that you owe me a ridiculous amount of money if you go hang out with him in the countryside and be like his best friend. Otherwise you're gonna paint me with your teeth. So then Paul Gauguin reluctantly went to hang out with Van Gogh.
And then regretted it.
So then here's Van Gogh once again painting an icing, which is like ended up being like his most dynamic looking painting. And then there's a self-portrait. Van Gogh telling his brother, I'm alright, don't worry about me, pay no attention to the missing ear.
Tell the story how he lost the ear.
Okay, so like the previous night before he cut off his own ear, Van Gogh, when Paul Gauguin was like hanging out in the gardens, and then suddenly when he turned around, there was Van Gogh with a razor very close to Gauguin's ear because he'd be like, Gauguin, listen! So they're like, well, what is Gauguin thinking? Be like, oh my God, this crazy guy just went out to me with a knife, and I'm like super scared for my life. So then he sends a crazy letter to Theo telling him like, dude, your brother's freaking me out, and then he'd be like, well, don't leave him alone, and then he'd be like,
yeah, you hang out with my crazy brother who wants to cut you, or you pay what you own,
or
you own Tahiti and hide from me.
So then Gauguin did what all of the Europeans did, ran away from his creditors to the colonies. So then since Gauguin was no longer there for Van Gogh to cut his ear off, he cut it off his own ear, and then he gave it to like the other woman that he liked to see if she would listen to him. And then that's when he was sent to the madhouse for the obvious reason. But he still sent self-portraits to his brother telling him like, yeah, like, I'm alright, look, I'm even smoking a pipe, everything's fine. Pay no attention to the missing ear. I am okay, little brother. You don't need to worry about me. It's just that Van Gogh, he felt so bad. He felt so guilty about like always depending financially on like his brother Theo. So like this is like with the eyes is a cry for help, but the rest of it is him trying to tell his brother, I'm alright, you don't need to help me, but secretly, please help me, brother. So yeah, those are like if you start losing your marble, because things are not going well, just try to like paint your current state of mind in order to give you a new perspective, and then leave the ears alone. There are better ways to cope with stress. So if you're stressed, just paint your stress. Don't like do bodily self-harm. It ain't good for you. And it's like painting serious subject stresses. You have to go back to painting fan art. So then here he is painting a fan art of his favorite painter, Everett Mille. He's painting his soul, his version of it. Just if like trying to paint serious, painting stressing you out, just make a fan art. Just something relaxing, just for the fun of it.
Like it feels like at one point he wanted so badly to make money off his paintings in order to be free from Theo that he drove him insane.
Well, not like free from Theo, it's a lot of guilt.
Yeah.
Cause like around the time that he cut his ear off, Theo had gotten married, so obviously and he had a kid on the way. So obviously he'd be like, my brother's up to his up to his ear in debt, and I'm just another financial burden. And he has a wife, and I'm ruining his life because he's got married and he's gonna have a kid, and I'm ruining his life because I'm so dirt poor and I'm a failure. So then he painted a sunflower while thinking of Paul Gauguin. So yeah, do not hyper focus on. That was the problem with Van Gogh. He hyper focused on his failure that so much that he almost lost. That that he became that he lost.
He developed mental illness.
He developed mental illness. He lost the joy of painting. So then over here is another nice scene. But as you can see, it's already starting to look torn and whatnot because like his sanity is slowly starting to wane. And this is another fancy Japanese panel like cherry blossom, because obviously he couldn't draw cherry blossoms from like the real world because there's no cherry blossoms in Europe. So then he just painted, but this one was painted more like from his memory because he started running, because over there he was back in the insane asylum. So Van Gogh teaching himself to paint from memory, he was able to distract himself from like the fact that he was in a madhouse. So yeah, paint from memory, learn to paint from memory. It's gonna be useful. So this is like Dr. Grace. He ends up being, when he gets out of the madhouse, he ends up having like a personal doctor. So over here, the doctor's listening to Van Gogh venting while Van Gogh paints him. So it's like, oh, I'm so worried about my brother, what's going to happen to my brother? So then like, yeah, yes, I know, and then Van Gogh just ranting while like, while this guy slowly loses his sanity listening to Van Gogh complain. So yeah. That's another painting subject idea that you could try. Just paint your therapist while he listens to you rant. Because like painting in and of itself is like a good way of expressing yourself, and it relaxes you. So it might actually be cathartic and make it easier for you to talk to your therapist if you're like if you're like doing something that relaxes you while you're talking to the therapist and whatnot, instead of just sitting there trying to get in contact with your emotions. Just unwind. So then that's what Van Gogh was doing, trying to get in touch with his emotion while painting, while this guy was slowly losing his marbles listening to him. Well, psychology was a new thing back then, So then from this point on, and since Van Gogh was slowly losing his grip on sanity, he just started painting whatever he felt like, because he trying to recover his joy of painting, because since he had become so obsessed with making money out of his painting, he had lost the joy of painting. So that's something that in your path as an artist, that's something that you must never lose, because if you lose the joy of painting and whatnot, then everything you're gonna make is gonna it's just gonna frustrate you. And there's nothing worse than trying to paint while you're like overcome with like anger and frustration. So you sit back, go see your therapist, relax, and then once you come, remember what made you want to paint in the first place, and that's it. And that's how you learn to paint and that's how you teach yourself to paint Van Gogh. You first learn the skills, then you learn other people's techniques. Then you decide, then you make your own, then you create your own style.
You see what's trending at the moment and you learn from it.
You see what's trending at the moment, and then you learn from it and you make your own stuff.
But without letting it swallow you up.
Yeah, but without becoming hyper-focused on actually making money out of your painting, because if you let the money consume your life, you're going to lose your freaking mind, because you're going to be hyper-focused on the fact that you're obviously not making any money because you haven't made it yet. And then if you lose the joy of painting, everything that you're going to paint is just going to be bitter and angry, and then you're going to suffer mentally for it. So never lose the happiness that you feel while painting. Okay, so I hope you have fun learning to paint Van Gogh style. Bye bye and God bless.